Welcome back. Now, Ian Ward's life changed forever when he received a diagnosis of stage 3 brain cancer when he was just 31 years old in 2019.
Now, rather than allow this news to break him, the self-proclaimed King of Chemo decided to take on a world record and fundraise for a good cause while he was at it.
And Ian Ward joins us this morning. Good morning, Ian. How are you?
Thanks for having me on. Yeah, good.
You're good.
Surprisingly good.
Yes. Can we explain to people what happened? Because you have described yourself as the unluckiest lucky man in the world sort of a thing as to how you got this diagnosis.
Oh, yeah. Well, to be honest, my surgeon said that because when he was explaining to me, like, this sounds bad, but, like, you came in with no symptoms, so you are actually really lucky. And it's like, I don't want to say that to you now because it's like sort of like, I've got what? But yeah, it's like because if you're at my age, you don't go in for MRI scans. The only reason I went in is because I was doing medical trials for guinea pig money.
To get money?
Yeah,
like college students are like, I'm going to do this just to get a bit of cash.
Yeah, off to trip to Peru and all sorts of things.
Yeah, and they discovered...
Yeah, that I had a brain tumour, and the first scan said that it was benign. I don't know how they know the difference, but it was like, yeah, you don't need to worry too much, but you do need to get this checked. And the first thing that popped into my head, other than the tumour, was, does this mean that I can't do the rest of the research thing? Yeah. I was like, down on money. And then the second...
Ian.
Yeah. Well, Christmas was coming, and like, you know...
Right, this was your spending money.
Yeah. This was going to be able to get me through the 12 pubs of Christmas.
Gotcha.
And yeah, so once we got to the second one, it was like, oh no, this is growing like, you know, like COVID is growing. So like, you really need to get on this straight away. So, but my doctor was... he was able to read me extremely well, and straight away he was just sort of going, all right, this is what you can do, this is what you can do, this is what you can do. And to me, it was just like the only choice was, okay, surgery is the best option. And then from there, it was just sort of small steps to getting through to the end of the treatment.
And can you talk us through the surgery? Because reading about that, like, you were awake during the surgery.
Yeah. So if ever you've seen footage of brain surgery and they're like playing an instrument or something like that, that actually is because they need to check your brain function. So they have something, apologies if I'm getting this wrong, but then again, it is brain surgery, so I feel like I'm allowed to get it wrong a little bit. They have something called a probe or a prong, and they literally poke into your brain tissue, and which doesn't have a nervous system, so it's, you don't feel it, but you hear it, and that's what makes it unpleasant. And then they, basically with me, they just had a basic form of articulate, you know, that word play game?
Yeah.
And then all they were looking out for was not when I got it wrong, but when I hesitated. So if I was like, that's a cat, as opposed to me being, that's a dog, then it was like, okay, this is an area where it's functional.
Yeah.
We're not going to remove this tissue.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long did that go on for?
4 hours and 3 hours of them mining.
Mining your brain as you were awake.
Yeah.
That's more than surreal.
It's not fun. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's nearly like a sawing noise at the start, isn't it, to get through?
That was, yeah. So during that, for both my own sanity and as a way to literally hum so I heard it less, I was just like singing a song in my head. And then they're like, what song is that? Like, you wouldn't believe how casual the surgeon is. In a good way.
Okay.
He's talking about like his weekend that he's got, like that he was. What'd you do over the weekend? To what is it? The anaesthetist.
Yeah.
I'm very glad that I nailed that on.
You
television.
did. You got that really well. You got that really well. You went through all of this.
Yeah.
You know, you're in your early 30s.
Yep.
What is your prognosis?
So a couple of days later, they had us brought in and they were able to analyze the brain tissue, and they said, all right, yeah, this is not great. It's not the worst, but it's not great. So it was stage 3 cancer. And I had already started like a YouTube channel about just playing video games, which kind of tied in with COVID, because I was like, oh, I've got free time, I can finally get this started.
Yeah.
And then so I had it in my head, pardon the pun, the idea of, okay, well, like, are you gonna, depending on how bad the situation is, are you gonna address, okay, yeah, I've got brain cancer, so now we're doing stuff for charity as well. Every time I get a headshot in the game, hey, it's a headshot for head cancer. And then it was like, okay, no, this is quite a negative situation. After I poked at them for a while, they eventually said, we don't want to, but like, it's about 5 years. And so I was like, all right, well, I may as well, crank it up to 11 and try to break the world record as opposed to just sort of raise a little bit of money.
Well, hold on. Let's go about this, because you get this diagnosis and you decide to turn it into something positive, like quite quickly. You decided I'm gonna live my life in a certain way.
Yeah. One day, I kind of like, it was just basically, I had the idea already of what I was gonna do. Was I gonna do some stuff charity-wise, seeing as how at the actual camera angle I wouldn't be able to shoot anything because they'd be looking at the scar. So it's like there's an elephant in the room. You're gonna have to address it. And you may as well have a bit of fun with it as well. Because I like, when you see video games and they do things called speed runs, they often do them for charity. So it's like, I'll do that. And, be a bit of crack. You do like events and that sort of thing. And
okay.
Fun.
But Ian, can I just ask you, like, you've got a diagnosis, maybe 5 years, and you just saying, okay, I'm going to do this. Was there ever a time where you just went, oh my God, have you processed this? Have your family processed it? Like, it seems like you just moved from that news into this mad thing. Like, was there grief?
No, not really. To be perfectly honest, not really. And I keep kind of thinking every so often, like, when you're watching a sad film and like your eyes are watering up and it's like, oh, I kind of hope I cry because it feels like relief. And it's like, sometimes I kind of get that into my head. It's not like I'm trying to stamp it down. I try to do the exact opposite. Like, I meditate a lot. And it just doesn't ever get to that area. And then the next thing is sort of like, well, no, feeling sad today, back to work.
Back to work. So tell us about...
This is the thing, like, I'm just, like, amazed.
It's amazing. But tell us what your work is. You want to break this world record from speed runs that you used to as a YouTuber, and now you're road racing all the time for a marathon.
Well, yeah, like, my job before, I suppose it still is my job, was teaching fitness classes. So, like, the transition from one thing into the other was fairly seamless. Like, I've done... the Dublin Marathon and the London Marathon and all sorts of stuff like that. And I did little things for like, what was that? The Tour de Picnic where...
Yeah, where you cycled down to a Electric Picnic.
Yeah, I came first in that one, yeah. It's not a race, but like I was...
It is a race. I got a lift the last 20 kilometres of the way, so well done you. That's good, yeah. It is a race.
And I did that with my brother and he came right after me as well. And so like when I was raising money for that, I was like on a static bike in Temple Bar Square. Yeah. And like just on the bike for ages. So like I kind of been previously done stuff like that. So it's like I knew it would work. And then also I kind of looked
So we need to let people know what you're doing is that you're trying to break a world record for the most money raised for a marathon, the London Marathon, right?
Well, it happened in the London Marathon, but just all marathons in general. So like the fastest, I'm also trying to break the world record for fastest person dressed as a video game character.
Of course.
But that was done in Boston. So I'm sure if he did it in London, he'd probably do it faster.
Okay, so this is what you were trying to do. And what you're doing is that you've got your YouTube channel, The King of Chemo, everyone can find you, but you're like, it's lovely that people want to donate to you, but you're kind of hitting up brands, big donations. You want to raise as much money as you can to support cancer charities.
Oh, yeah. So my idea was kind of based off of when I seen other people who were being super successful on social media, and a lot of them give to charity, like PewDiePie and Mr. Beast. They're both like really big on YouTube. And so I was like, oh, I could do that, but how about I do it a little bit different? And that's the goal from the get-go. And it's like, all right, well, how do they have all the money? Okay, well, they have sponsorships and they just basically have money from the fact that they have a large channel. So it's like, wouldn't it be easy to get both of those things if you say the sole intent is to break the world record for cancer research? Well, for charity, but for cancer research. I mean, like, everybody's been affected by cancer.
And what is your goal? How much?
So it keeps changing because because of Brexit. So like, woohoo! For once, there's a benefit to Brexit, and it's because the pound is not as strong as it used to be. So it started off being 3.1 million in euro, and now it's down to 2.6.
2.6. This is what you want to get to.
At the moment, unless there's like a change in the economy. But like it was done in the Great British Pound, so that standard is 2.3 million pounds, and then with some change on it as well. So
people can find you, and I know that you're getting, like, you want big brands on board to give you as much money as you can. It's curecancer or dietrying.com.
That's where you can donate. If you want to follow, all the platforms are called the King of Chemo.
Do you get, I'm sure you get it all the time, you look fab.
Oh, thanks, babes.
You do. Like, do people must say that to you all the time?
Oh
And
yeah,
be
in
like,
the street they'd be shouting at me, but like that's been since I was 13 years of age.
it's
Oh,
your-
all right, okay, you've
is
always
there-
looked great.
all right.
Gotcha,
But
yeah.
Can I ask you, is the fact that you are so fit helping in your diagnosis as well? That the doctor said that?
No.
Really?
So I think it's because the doctors in the NHS, they are brilliant, but like, I live in London, by the way, but at the same time, whenever there's something that's kind of teetering on the line of something that's new, like say long-term fasting, which I do a lot of myself, or like the alkaline diet, or alkaline diet, and getting into a ketogenic diet, and all these sort of different things, or there's CBD oil, but a big one else is the THC oil, which contains cannabis. So like that's illegal in a lot of places, but they're still trying to do a lot of research on it to get it in. But like the doctors are always saying like, nope, you can't do it. Like, is sugar not really bad for you? There's a lot of books that say it's terrible for you. And I was like, like,
But you're doing...
It's good for health in general, but it's not going to help your cancer. And I think that's just because they want to stick to the absolute certain
ways,
fully researched truth, and they don't want to get put you anywhere.
Absolutely, which you can understand.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. False
Ian,
hope.
I have to say, it's a heartbreaking but an amazing story, and you're going to, if you're going to raise all this money, and
it's a lot of fun for me.
Yeah, I know, and hopefully we can help this morning with that fundraising.
Actually, you already are.
Absolutely. CureCancer or dietrying.com, that's where people can donate, and this is to get big brands on board. So, you know, if you're the CEO of something, think about the King of Chemo. Ian Ward, thank you so much for talking to us this morning.
Thanks for having me on.